So, you're planning a move, and probably the biggest question looming over everything is how long is this actually going to take? Well, let's get into it and find a real world answer.
We all have that picture in our heads, don't we? Just one single crazy day of boxes and tape, a big truck shows up, and poof, you're in your new place. But is that really the whole story?
Yeah, not even close. The day the truck pulls up to your curb, that's just the tip of the iceberg. What's really hiding under the surface? Well, that's the real moving process.
Okay, here it is. This is the number you need to have in your head. From the very first thought of, I'm moving, until you're actually truly settled in, you're looking at a timeline of about 6 to 10 weeks. Now, whoa, don't let that number freak you out. Seriously, the key is to understand all the stages. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to help you turn this huge, kind of scary looking task into a series of clear, totally doable steps. Everything, and I mean everything, starts long before moving day. This is your pre-move countdown. And honestly, getting this part right is the secret to a move that doesn't make you want to pull your hair out. This timeline right here lays out the whole journey perfectly. See how most of the work is front-loaded? 6 to 8 weeks out, that's for the big picture stuff. Figuring out your budget, booking movers. Then, in that month before, the real packing starts. Moving day is, the main event. But the process keeps going for a couple of weeks after as you unpack and actually make the place feel like home.
Before you even tape up a single box, you have got to declutter. This is the single best way to save yourself time and money. I mean, think about it. Less stuff means less to pack, less to move, and way less to unpack. The key here is to be absolutely ruthless. Start early and sort everything you own into these 4 piles: keep, sell, donate, and trash.
And this is why starting that decluttering process early is so critical. For a pretty standard 3-bedroom house, you're looking at an average of 25 to 37 hours just to pack. That's almost a full work week dedicated to just putting things in boxes. If you spread that out over a few weeks, it's so much more manageable. Of course, that whole 6 to 10 week timeline isn't set in stone. It's an average, right? So what are the big things that can either stretch out your moving schedule or, maybe even shrink it a bit? There are basically 4 main wildcards to think about. First, the most obvious one, how big your home is and just how much stuff you have. Second is distance. Moving across town is a whole different ballgame than moving across the country. Third, you've got logistics. Think stairs, tricky parking. And finally, the one thing you have zero control over, the weather. Things that seem small can have a huge impact. Access issues isn't just some vague term. You can actually quantify it. Check this out. A single flight of stairs can add about 30 minutes for every 10 cubic meters of your stuff. That's why it's so important to let your movers know about these things ahead of time.
Okay, so you've done the planning. You've decluttered like a champ. You've packed for weeks. Now, we finally get to the main event, the one day everyone actually thinks of as moving day. So if you've hired professional movers, and assuming you're all packed up and ready to roll, this is a pretty good estimate of what you can expect. A 1-bedroom place, that's a quick 2 to 4 hour job. For your typical 3-bedroom home, you're looking at most of a workday, somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 8 hours from start to finish. And here is where you really see the trade-off. Just look at the massive difference between doing the packing yourself versus having the pros come in on moving day. For that same 3-bedroom house, you could spend 3 to 5 full days packing it all up yourself, or the movers handle the heavy lifting in just 6 to 8 hours. This is why that planning phase is so crucial. You've got to decide where your time is best spent. The truck is gone. The boxes are piled high in your new living room, but you're not done yet. Not quite. The final phase of this whole journey is all about turning that new house into your actual home. The most important thing here is to not burn yourself out. Seriously, this final step can take days, even weeks, so you've got to be strategic. Always pack an essentials box with everything you'll need for that first 24 hours. Then focus on the most important rooms first. Get the kitchen and the bedrooms functional. Everything else can wait. Just give yourself permission to take your time.
So there you have it. Moving house, it's a multi-week marathon, not a one-day sprint. But by understanding the real timeline and breaking it down into smaller pieces, you can absolutely cross that finish line with your sanity intact. So the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step?